Hello and welcome to episode 89 of Bearded Banter, the gaming podcast where you, yes you, can have a good goofy gamer time with me and the boys. I am Shane, the Bearded One, hosting today as always. With me are my co-hosts Matt and Ryan. How are we doing today, lads?
Good. I'm doing very good.
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Good
just hanging in there, trying to get through the cold that's hitting us right now.
Yeah, dude. You're lucky. You're lucky you're not here with Matt and I in Canada because there's many snow on the ground.
It is a storm technically.
Mm-hmm.
Winter storm.
Yeah. It was classified as a big winter storm.
So I was gonna go out and get my haircut today. I'm probably not getting my haircut today.
No,
not anymore.
So
yeah, it's being right by the lake too. Probably just makes it even colder.
Oh yeah,
me.
Yeah. I have to stay inside. So
I refuse to go outdoors. But welcome everyone to the podcast. We've got the boys here once again to talk about some Vigima games. Of course, if you don't know how this works, we'll start off with some general discussion where we talk about what we've been playing, and then I'll hit these guys with a discussion question of the week to wrap that section up before we go into the news. And news is a little lighter this week. Not as many big stories to cover. However, as always, we have more developments on the Activision Blizzard acquisition. So fucking strap in again.
Let me just rip the Band-Aid off now. Is there Hogwarts Legacy news this week?
Not this week, no. I could have put a Hogwarts Legacy story in here because there were several, but I decided to avoid them this time. Literally, there was like 2 or 3 big Hogwarts stories this week, but I'm like, we're done with this. However, Sony's being a little baby, so we need to talk about that. But let's get right into it. General discussion time. Who wants to go first?
I can go first for talking about
what
I've played recently. Another one game this time for me, just focusing on one big one. Did a full playthrough of Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe on my end. Got that right at launch day. Made sure to fit it in my right there. Fit it in my big Switch family photo for the anniversary.
Did you? How hard did you break your back to get that shot?
I didn't break my back too much because mostly what I did was I took my phone and I held it like above me like this, pointing downwards, and kept taking pictures until I got one that worked.
I was thinking of doing that for the Switch anniversary too, but I was just like, I don't want to lug all those games off the shelf. Fuck that.
Yeah, and so I played Return to Dreamland like a long time ago when the first version came out, and I absolutely loved it. So I was sure I was going to get this remaster for Switch, and it was a lot of fun. Ton of new content. 100% of the main story, the epilogue, and did most of the missions in Merry Magoland. So technically haven't 100% of the whole game yet because I would still need 100% extra mode and do the true arena because I beat the regular arena, but still I would need to unlock the true arena. So there's still some I would have to do for like full 100% completion, but most of it at this point is just doing harder versions of what I've already done.
Yeah.
So I think for now, I'll save that for whenever I want to come back to that game to do like another playthrough of it.
Yeah, I mean, extra mode is basically just like a new game plus in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a second harder playthrough, basically. Yeah, so that'll be fun to redo. And for what I'll do next, I'm thinking of doing Metroid Prime next, just because like I'm stuck between Metroid Prime, Fire Emblem Engage, or Octopath 2. And Metroid Prime is just the shortest of all of them by far.
Like you have a 15 to 20 hour game compared to like 80-hour games. It's like
yeah, I wouldn't even say 20. I'd say more like maybe 12 hours versus
I wanted to be generous if you're like going for all the secrets and stuff.
If you're good at Metroid Prime, it's like 7 hours.
Oh yeah, well, wow.
People really fast.
How long to beat?
Yeah, I was actually just about to do that. Hold on.
It's not a long
Metroid
game.
Prime
It's a little longer than like a 2D Metroid, but you can beat it relatively quickly.
Yeah, it looks like How Long to Beat has it like 13, 14.
13 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
all of the categories too, for the most part. That's pretty
yeah,
consistent.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it also depends on the skill level. Like most Metroid games, if you're not good at it, it's gonna take forever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like those
Yeah.
people who are. It's like me who like I can I could beat Zero Mission in like 2 hours if I really tried.
Yeah.
Didn't you speedrun it at one point, Matt?
I sped run Zero Mission. I beat it in like 2.5 hours.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can blow through.
I didn't get
Fusion.
everything by the way. I wasn't trying to.
No,
anyone who could beat it in 2 hours and get everything, they're madmen, and I'm not doing that.
No, 100% Zero Mission sucks. Like Zero Mission is a fantastic game, but 100%ing it is a pain in the ass.
Oh, you gotta use you really gotta be good at maneuvering. You gotta be really fucking good, and I am not good.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I am not good. I am not good. There's which canister is it? There's this one canister where you have to like zoom across the map.
Shine spark. No, it's not entirely across the map. It's you go through a door and there's like a shine spark block barrier that's structured like this. So you have to like jump in the middle of it to go through an arc to get to the canister. It's a 3-frame jump to get it right. 3 frames.
Yeah, it's hard as shit, and I think I've only done it like once.
Yeah,
I've only done it like once because I have 100%ed Zero Mission. That would never again. I'm not doing that again. Like,
yeah, I love Metroid. I really don't 100% the game, so I think Dread is actually the only one I've 100%ed.
Yeah, I 100%ed Dread as well. Fusion.
Yeah, I think it's just because most of the time with Metroid, for me, it's like once you go into 100%, you're just collecting a bunch more missiles and power.
You're
bombs
just
that
getting
you
missile
don't
tanks.
need.
That's it.
You never know when you need them, though. You never know when you need those missiles.
They are very generous with missiles, though.
Yes, especially in Fusion, like in power bombs in Fusion, you get 74 of those things by the time you 100% Fusion.
You're gonna screen wipe the entire game if you really wanted to.
Just blow up the entire ROM.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I want 100% Prime. I don't think Prime is like one of the hardest in the series. I think it's a tad more difficult, but
that's Prime 2.
Yeah, Prime 2.
Prime 2.
Yeah, I think I'll do like a pretty solid playthrough of Prime though. I think that'll be really fun.
Awesome. Okay, well, Matt, what have you been playing this week?
Oh, I wonder what I've been playing. Okay, so I'll start off with the small thing first. I was gonna start Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy this week. Emphasis on was. I got really busy. And it's leaving Game Pass on the 16th, so I will probably talk about it next time because I'm going to fucking rush through that game in order to beat it before it leaves Game Pass. Because I've been wanting to play it for a very, very long time. I've heard it's great. But as a big Marvel guy, I was really excited. The fact that one of the writers on it is Tom King, who wrote the 2008 Guardians run, that revitalized the characters, and he's on this as a writer and a character designer. So he had a lot of involvement in this, and so I'm very, very excited for that reason, for the fact that there's comics creators involved in this. And I've also heard the game in general is really good. It's well designed. It's well designed. The story's very good.
It's lauded as one of the best written games of its year, so that's saying something.
Good as it should be. It's a Guardians game. It better be well written.
Yeah,
you have tough competition with the gun films, so like
yeah, it's kind of a shame with that Guardians game because like apparently by all accounts it's actually a pretty good game, but it just got its reputation was slaughtered by that shit presentation of it at Square's E3. Like it took up the first 25 minutes and everyone was like,
almost like Square Enix should market their games better.
And it disappointed too, which really sucks.
Yeah, it underperformed.
It underperformed.
Not helping by Square putting out Avengers like a year or two earlier.
Yep.
But reality, I was playing Ishin. That's what I was.
Yeah,
Of
it
course
is.
he was.
I was playing
course.
Ishin. I bought it. I finally got it. And I beat it in a week. That was. I beat it in a week. I'm not done, so I will still be playing it. I'm not done it. I still need to do a lot of. I still got sub stories to do because, as Shane knows, when I play through Yakuza games, the playthrough is not done
Oh, of course
until I
not.
beat Amon.
Yeah,
Until
whatever
I beat
the Ishin
big
version of Amon is.
until I beat the hard super boss. That is the playthrough is not done until I do that. And I still got a bunch of sub stories to do. So and I don't and Ishin has the problem that Zero and Kiwami does, where it doesn't fucking tell you where the sub stories are. You have to go find them.
You're just on your way to the next story bit, and then all of a sudden there's a woman in an alley and she's being harassed by a pizza man or something.
Or you need to you're on the run from the Shinsengumi. But oops, there's a mob of dancers in the way who are singing about capitalism.
Shenmue ass
Which is
game design.
actually a thing that happens in this. But in any case, I beat the main story, so I can talk about like the game as a whole. I can actually talk about how I liked it, which is spoiler alert. It's fantastic. It's
Holy
really good.
shit! You're telling me the sky is blue? Jesus Christ!
Dude, a Yakuza game is really good. Who knew? But it's really good. The one thing I will say is that I think RGG lied to us. This remake my ass. This is not a remake. This is a glorified remaster. As someone who has played through Zero and Kiwami, this plays almost identical to those. And Ishin was basically a proof of concept on the PS. Well, originally when it came out, was a launch title for the Japanese PS4. And it was a proof of concept for Zero.
No, it's not a new game.
What?
It's just a re-release.
Okay.
Yeah. So but this game was marketed as a remake. And it is absolutely not. It is 100% not a remake. The only reason it's being considered a remake is it has one major gameplay mechanic change.
The cards.
And a lot of actors have been swapped.
Yeah.
That's the only reason it's being considered a remake.
On
the actor swapping, I could care less. Because most of the actors that they have swapped are literally just there to like, hey, this game isn't the more popular game actors are now in this. It's to appeal to Western markets. So like Joongi Han from Like a Dragon is in this now.
Yeah.
Zhao is in it.
Zhao is in
Mabuchi
it.
is in it. Why fucking Mabuchi?
Mabuchi's in it for like 5 minutes, by the way. Do not expect him to show up very long. He is in it for like 5 minutes. He gets like 2 lines of dialogue.
Sick. Hate that guy. All my homies hate that guy.
And some of the music, and also some of the music has been changed. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, to accommodate this. There's a music, particularly for one particular character that you might guess. If you played a certain Yakuza game, whose actor is in this. And the other thing about the major gameplay change are those damn trooper cards.
The fucking cards, man.
So now in the original game, those ones, from what I understand, were only available and you only used them at the trooper missions. You only used them when you went on those trooper missions with the Shinsengumi and it was like they're basically side stuff. They're now in the main game 100% of the time. So once you get your trooper cards, you get them in the actual game itself now as well. And
they fucking break it.
Not only, well, they don't break it because they've basically upped the difficulty of all the bosses in order to compensate. This is a hard fucking game. I was struggling by the end of this. Because all the bosses have like basically their own trooper cards now too. All their health has been buffed. They have fucking the final boss has like lightning powers.
Excellent.
It's now like full blown like anime shit. Because in the original game it was just like samurais. Now it's like, oh, now like the bosses have like fucking superpowers because
whoa, it's Enel from the hit anime
Demon
series
Slayer.
One Piece.
It's like Demon Slayer, like straight up.
It's Ryuma from Fire Emblem Face.
Right? And it's told and so I am a little mixed on the trooper card stuff. On the one hand, I do like the abilities. I think they're really wacky and cool. Like I can like I have I had Kenny Omega
I
on
fucking
one of my
love
trooper
Kenny
cards
Omega.
list. And he basically turns you into Sephiroth. Like it's really funny. Like it's ridiculous and it's so stupid, but I love it. And outside Nyanners, who's actually like fucking busted as shit.
Oh my god.
She steals the health of all of the enemies in front of you, and you heal. She's basic, and she has a regen. So if you put it on whatever like style you have, because the way that the trooper cards are laid out, you have 4 trooper cards per style. Nyanners will heal you. It's basically just like you have regen permanent.
So what you're saying is that Josh was right.
She's actually like the best trooper card in the game, maybe.
Crazy.
Like, one of the best ones. Like straight up, have her on your team. I had her as one of my major ones, and she was fucking useful. But outside of that, I really the game's story is excellent. If you don't know shit about Yakuza, that's fine because none of the characters in here are from the Yakuza games. You can just jump in. You also don't need to know Japanese history to play this because it makes some major changes in regards to like what actually happens. Kinda ish. It plays loose with history, so you don't need to know like exactly what happened as well. I like a lot what the game has to say about there's an overarching, like, the end of the game turns out to be has a lot to say about like identity and shit, and there's this idea constantly that like maybe like the Ryo Sakamoto that we know was like a completely different person than what we perceived him to be. It's kind of playing meta-textual with the fucking history of its own character, which I think is really interesting. The only issue I kind of actually have with the game is that because it's a remaster, it has definitely shown its age.
Yep.
It feels old. It feels like a late PS3 title, which it is, and it hasn't really been changed. So all of the quality of life features that were in future Yakuza games, like seeing sub stories on the map, the seamless transition between battles, the world, like the open world being one location that you can just go around. It's not there. It's none of it's here anymore, so you have to kind of readjust to that. Like when you enter like a store, the store will like literally stop, and like the game will stop and load in the store. You go to the store, buy stuff, leave the store, and the game will stop again and load. Which hasn't happened since Kiwami. It's been a while. It's been a while.
It's been at least 7 years since Kiwami, so
yeah. And when it comes to like the actual like new gameplay that they have, because it's all swords and like guns based now, if you aren't into Monster Hunter style grinding crafting, this game might actually be a chore for you. There is Shane, because I don't know if Shane's gotten to that yet. The upgrade system is basically just Monster Hunter. There's like a chart of all the different stuff you can craft, and it all leads to different like shit. And if you are not into that, and it costs a lot of money too, to do it. So if you're not into it, you are going to get fucked too, because the swords don't, because most of the bosses only really like you need to fight them with swords. Like you need to do it in order to actually do damage. And if you don't have the right sword, if you don't have a good enough sword, you're gonna be absolutely blasted. I absolutely blasted. But I enjoyed the game a lot. I thought it was very good. I think it would be a good introduction to people who have not played a Yakuza game before to get into it. If you like Ghost of Tsushima and you want to play Yakuza, this is a good starting point. Just be prepared for some jank. Some late PS3 jank.
Yeah.
But that's fine. That's fine. I love Zero, so it's like
this is like whatever.
It's not a
Yeah.
huge, it's not a huge deal to me. It is a it is a little funny though that it is a little funny though that Ryoba, who's played by Kiryu in this, actually has a love interest, and guess who his love interest is played by, Shane? Because it's gonna make zero sense when you realize it. And it's not the ones you're thinking of. The actual love interest that Kiryu has in the series. It's Yuki.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Honestly,
it's Yuki.
I was gonna
guess
Yuki
from the fucking cabaret subplot in Zero. Why is she in this? Why her? I don't know. I'm just happy to see her, but also like,
why?
What?
Yeah.
But yeah, I will hopefully have beaten Amon by next podcast though. And I can talk about how disgusting Amon is.
He usually is.
Yeah.
So, in terms of what I've been playing, 4 things to talk about. 3 of them, not much to say. Gonna keep it pretty brief. The one major game I will talk at length, and I think Matt knows what I'm talking about, but we'll get there. First off, since Ryan already brought it up, Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Picked it up on release day, beat it 100%, beat story mode, beat Magalore Epilogue, did the first arena, not the true arena, beat all the missions, not in Mary Magalore, but the challenges in the story mode, beat all of those, because you need those to 100%. And I've done maybe a third of the Magalore missions. And yeah, this is a really good Kirby game. Extremely solid. If you like traditional Kirby and you want to play this game and you've never played it before, which I didn't, I never played it on the Wii, definitely pick this up. It is worth it. I'm really impressed with the actual quality of the remaster too. Like, it looks excellent. And they definitely went above and beyond to put meaningful additional content in this game. When it comes to the Mary Magalore land stuff, the Magalore Epilogue, which is basically just its own little side game. Magalore controls completely differently than Kirby and has a completely different moveset. And even though it's fairly short, it's maybe like 2 hours at most if you're just blazing through it. It's a nice little breath of fresh air at the end of the game. And it's got some very light RPG elements too, because you upgrade his abilities as you go and they get stronger, which is cool. But yeah, really good remaster, really happy with that. The second game, my girlfriend and I played this on the weekend, Yoshi's Crafted World. I don't think anyone was expecting me to talk about this game when we came on the podcast. But my girlfriend and I played this co-op on the weekend. It's solid. It's good. It's obviously not as good as some of the better Yoshi games like Yoshi's Island or even Woolly World, like I would argue. Yeah.
Which is like 2.
Yeah. It's not even, I don't think it's even as good as Woolly World, because I think it has a lot of been there, done that qualities to it. Even though it's fairly different than Woolly World, but aesthetically it's pretty much the same thing. But it's solid. It's fun. You can play it the full thing in co-op, and that makes it baby shit easy.
The game is aimed at like 6-year-olds.
Yeah, so, it says E for everyone, which is literally 6 or older.
Well, it's literally like the Yoshi games in particular have always been aimed at like a younger audience. So like,
yeah.
When you get a Yoshi game, I'm not expecting Dark Souls level difficulty, frankly.
No, absolutely.
It would be very funny though if it was. It would be hilarious. Babies first Dark Souls.
The original Yoshi's Island can get pretty difficult at points, especially if you're going for 100% in that game.
Yeah, with the extra levels. Yeah, it can definitely get challenging. But Crafted World, solid time, very fun game. I wouldn't put it in the upper echelon of Switch games, but if you're just looking for a comfy, cozy co-op game to play with like your sister or your girlfriend or whoever, pick it up. It's a good time all around. Game number 3, which I talked about last time, I finally beat Hi-Fi Rush. If that is not in the top 5 for me for 2023, that just means that this year was goated for video games, because that game absolutely deserves to be in Game of the Year contention. 100%. Completely refreshing experience. Not much else like it. Just a big breath of fresh air in, especially nowadays, when a lot of games aim to be very similar things, where they're either shooters or live services or whatnot. Hi-Fi Rush definitely has the stamp of pure passion project all over it, and from start to finish, I had nothing but a giant smile on my face. So if that's not in my top 5 at the end of the year, 2023 was cracked, let me tell you.
Or Shane has been replaced by an alien duplicate.
I am an android now.
We need to rescue him.
I look forward to the discourse of its 0 victories at the Game Awards at the end of this.
I actually, you know what? I'm going to make a bold prediction. I think it will actually win something.
I'd like if it won something too.
At least art direction.
It needs to get nominated for art direction.
Yeah, like if it I don't frankly I don't care if it wins Game of the Year, because also we're too early in the year to make that judgment. I think we're still in March. Calm down, guys. But at the same time, I do think it actually is going to win something, mainly because it has the Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo people behind it.
Yeah.
And the Game Award and the Game Awards, like a lot, like basically every award show eventually comes down to like campaigning and money. And the people behind Hi-Fi Rush have a lot of money. It's a AAA game, technically.
And so, they also have Microsoft backing them. So
exactly. So it is going to come down to campaigning, and they're gonna see those ratings. They're gonna campaign the fuck out of it. That's what's going to happen.
It should at least get nominated for Best Art Direction and Best Soundtrack.
I mean, if Stray can get nominated for Game of the Year and shit, then Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush absolutely can. I legitimately think, unless, like I said, 2023 is just purely cracked. This is going to be one of the best games of the year, hands down, and definitely should be in Game of the Year contention. And yeah, I hope it at least wins Best Soundtrack, because it fucking deserves it.
Yeah, I could see it being the obligatory indie / oddball pick that TGA likes to do for their Game of the Year nominations.
Yeah, like Stray or Hades and
Stray, Hades, when Celeste got nominated in 2018. It Takes Two, yeah.
Which actually won.
Yeah.
So. Which I don't know if I would have given it to that, but
honestly, I think it's an inspired choice. I think it's a really inspired choice,
especially after this past year's Game Awards, where it was just the God of War Elden Ring show. Yeah, It Takes Two definitely stands out a lot more now.
Building bling.
Yeah, yes. I guess personally, if I was to give it to any of those choices, I would have given it to Hades in 2020. That would have been the one I would have given it to.
That year was literally for me. That year was between Last of Us and Hades. It was neck and neck for me between them. I think I would have probably given it to Hades just a smidge. But Hades is my favorite. Yeah, because Hades was my favorite game that year. I also just really loved Last of Us, though, and I wanted to see people freak out over it. So that was also
just people lose their shit.
Yeah, exactly. So
I knew that was just a foregone conclusion with Last of Us. There was no question that was
there
happening.
There was no question. It won the popular vote too. So it was
actually across the board. It actually did not. Ghost of Tsushima won it because Neil Druckmann was acting like a cocky bitch on Twitter, and people spite voted Ghost of Tsushima to beat it.
Of course. Because gamers have no chill.
No, they do not.
But the last game I've been playing, which is the big game for me, I've put almost 30 hours into this game already, and it's gonna be a shocker because I am known to not fuck with these kinds of games. Fire Emblem Three Houses.
I'm so happy you finally get into Fire Emblem, dude.
A lot of people who know me either through this channel or in real life know I'm not a huge fan of strategy games. I've just never really fucked with them. They haven't been my cup of tea, but I've wanted to change that because there's been a ton of great strategy games that have come out over the last decade or two that I'm really interested in playing. So I thought, what better place to start than with Fire Emblem? So I picked up Three Houses and I started playing it. This game fucks. This game rips shit.
Yeah.
It's a combination of so many different things. One, the combat is great. I wasn't sure how I would feel about grid-based tactical combat, but I honestly, once it clicked with me, it really clicked. Because the first couple battles were rough. I was like, I'm not getting the hang of this. My units are dying. This doesn't feel good. And then there's one fight, I believe in chapter 3, and it just all came together. And suddenly I figured out the whole picture. And now I'm looking at things a lot more strategically, figuring out like which ways to move my units, counterattacks, flanking positions. It just completely opened up to me. I opened my third eye for this kind of thing. And I'm like, this combat is so goddamn fun.
Yeah.
2, the social sim stuff with the monastery and looking after your students. I really like that. As someone who's a big fan of Persona, of course I fuck with that. I'm not a huge fan of how long it takes to get through a single run of the monastery when you're on one of your days off. It's at least an hour to get through everything you need to do there, which does take up a big chunk of time by the end of the playthrough and starts to feel a little repetitive, but it's counteracted by the fact that every time you go, everyone has something new to say, and you're always picking up gifts and lost items, which will enhance your relationships. You're always getting support conversations to further build the relationships between you and your units. You can recruit people from different houses, which is cool. I'm playing as female Byleth, so I got Sylvain immediately for free because he's an incel simp. And it's just wandering around the monastery, finding different things, doing activities with your students, growing closer bonds with them. It all just feels really genuine and natural. And that leads to the actual combat being more engaging because you're looking out for these people more than you probably would. Because you're like, these are my students. They're my responsibility. I need to make sure they get out of this alive. So it's a case of the two sides of the game coming together beautifully to further enhance the experience. And I'm really digging the story. I'm still early on. I'm like chapter 7 or 8. So I've barely scratched the surface of this game, especially considering the fact that there's 2 more houses afterwards. But yeah, I'm really digging the story. It's really interesting. There's a lot of mystery surrounding the Church of Saros that I still haven't gotten into yet. There's a lot of intrigue that's pushing me to keep going. And the sim stuff combined with the combat is keeping me engaged gameplay-wise. So literally from all angles, I am loving this game. And I sunk 30 hours into this game in the span of a week. I haven't played it in a few days, mainly because I've been busy doing other stuff. But I definitely intend to go back to it, and I want to at least finish this first playthrough because I really, really love this game and everything it's doing, and I'm really thankful for it being the gateway for me to get into strategy games as a whole. So
yeah, and there's a lot of other strategy games I could suggest to you after you're done with Three Houses. Like Engage is obviously another one you could go right to. I would highly recommend Fire Emblem 7 when that comes to NSO as one of the next games.
The GBA one?
GBA. Yeah, the one that's just called Fire Emblem for us that we know as the first one.
Right,
Triangle Strategy is another really good one. I did see you did stream Live Alive for a little bit that one day.
A little bit. That stream was kind of a mess, though, so I didn't end up playing too much of it. But yeah, I did play for a little bit.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't be there. I had like family obligations the day I saw you.
Literally, it only lasted for like an hour anyway, so you didn't miss anything.
Like tech difficulties or something.
I was having stomach issues, so I just ended the stream early.
Fair, totally fair.
Yeah.
If you want, in terms of like strategy stuff, if you can get your hands on it, play the original Final Fantasy Tactics, because that's
Yes.
really good. And the story in that game is god tier. So, might actually be like one of my favorite Final Fantasy games as a whole, but I don't need to think on that. But
yeah, it's like, honestly, because this game is just so good from a quality perspective, and because it's basically my gateway into the genre, I feel like this game's going to stick with me for a long time. And even though I've barely scratched the surface, the tip of the iceberg with this, and I still have a long way to go with it, I'm legit considering putting this in my top 5 Switch games, because it's clicked with me that hard. And Matt will know that I love video games, but I tend to have a lot of motivation problems getting into games. It's just because of how I am, depression, anxiety, all that stuff. Hey, yeah, boy. So for me to sit down and just plow through a game and give it all of my time and attention is, at this point nowadays, very rare. So that's what makes this stand out to me a lot more than it probably would have. So yeah, Fire Emblem Three Houses, that was the big game I've been playing lately. And with that said, we can go right into our discussion question of the week, guys. Y'all ever heard of a JRPG?
Oh yes.
So, in the weeks since our last episode, there have been many previews come out for Final Fantasy XVI, the next big mainline entry in the Final Fantasy series. And a lot of interviews with the game's producer, Yoshi P, have been published. And the one big takeaway from a lot of those interviews is that Yoshi P doesn't like the term JRPG because, as he explained, in the 2000s, Japanese developers considered the term JRPG kind of like a slur because of the way that Western reviewers portrayed their games. And there's a lot of clips that have surfaced in the last week or so from mainly G4 and X-Play that have really fucking opened a lot of people's eyes. Like, wow, maybe they were right. Maybe we didn't know what the fuck we were talking about. So yeah, because of that, the term JRPG got a negative stigma in Japan. A lot of Japanese developers looked down on that term because of the ridicule that came behind it. And it's brought up a lot of discourse talking about whether or not the term JRPG at this point should even exist. So, discussion question of the week. Do you guys feel that the term JRPG is still relevant in the current gaming landscape? Ryan?
I could go first. I think it has merit because for the people like me who use it more to describe a certain type of RPG, because I think many will agree JRPGs have a certain feel to them, not like a negative connotation like the racist shit X-Play was saying. Like, they have certain themes, certain ways they play, certain types of characters, certain writing. Like, Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, Fallout, and Witcher are all RPGs, but the first two and the second two have way more similarities between each other. So I think it's something I can go either way on. Like, JRPG, I think, has merit in the way you describe what type of game it is, so people can get a general idea of what they are getting into, but I can also very easily see the negative connotation specifically behind it being Japanese RPGs, how just the idea behind that can give somewhat of a negative connotation to Japanese people. Like, I agree because it was a lot more negative back in the day. I wouldn't even, I'd say, other than Pokemon, it didn't really turn around until like Persona 5 and Nier Automata, I would honestly say, is what really helped turn it around for the general public view of JRPGs. So to me, I think it has value in giving it that type of name, but maybe thinking of a different name for it could help. But also coming up with a new name that could justifiably give the same kind of connotations and ideas is difficult. Lord knows people have been trying to think of another name for Metroidvania for like over a decade at this point, and nothing works.
Those are just action adventure games, let's be real.
They really are. They're just action adventure games, frankly.
Yeah. So Matt, what do you think? Do you think JRPG still has a place?
I think there's a good reason as to why the FromSoft, after this interview, why the FromSoft people don't call their games JRPGs. I think that's partly probably the reason when technically they are, because they're from Japan and they're RPGs.
Mhm.
I don't know. To me, after reading those after listening to that interview and reading a lot about what like reading the full interview with Yoshi P, which by the way you should do because he talks more. It's not just about the JRPG shit. He has a lot of interesting things to say.
Yes.
But I do think it's a little fucking weird that we have a term that is literally Japanese RPG. I think that is a little fucking weird. And a very American Western mindset of this is foreign. This is from the land of the sun.
And it is interesting that you mentioned Souls. Not to cut you off, just wanted to make a point because many people don't even think of Souls as a JRPG just because they think more JRPG as in the niche with certain types of more anime aesthetics to it. Like there's genuinely people who, because it's mainstream, they say Pokemon isn't a JRPG, which first of all, bullshit.
It absolutely is because it follows the tropes.
It leads
Final
into
Fantasy
that mindset.
is as well, and I know people who don't consider Final Fantasy JRPG either.
Oh my gosh!
Because Final Fantasy is like actually popular in the main. So like which when you really think on it, when people are using JRPG, they're referring to the less popular weird shit from Japan that nobody in America would want to touch, which is kind of racist.
Extremely racist.
And I know that it's going to be hard to find a new term. I don't think we're going to find one within a year, or it's going to be fucking years, even if we do. But at the same time, at this point, I think that the lines between what is a JRPG and a Western RPG are starting to be more and more blurred because I've seen a lot of Western RPGs that have taken a lot of inspiration from Japanese RPGs and a lot especially recently. I wasn't huge on it, but Crease Tales is basically an old school JRPG in a lot of ways. And that game was Western made, so.
Or as some people have mentioned, a game I mentioned that I played a couple podcasts ago, Chained Echoes. That is in complete style, story, theming, direction. That's a JRPG straight out of the Super Nintendo PlayStation 1, but it was made by a Western guy. So.
I was even gonna say, sorry to interrupt, but I was gonna say even when Ryan was talking earlier, I honestly feel like, actually, I think this is to Matt's point regarding Elden Ring. Elden Ring feels a lot more Western to me than it would typical JRPG, and that's where the line starts to be blurred.
It's extremely Western.
Many people thought for a long time that Souls were Western games. They didn't know they were Japanese games.
I think with the original Dark Souls, you can kind of tell that it's from Japan, that it's from Asia, but not because, but also Elden Ring's extremely Western, mainly because it's open world, and that's a very Western thing. I think Western thing. I know for a fact that the Xenoblade guys use Western games as influence for Xenoblade Chronicles, despite those games being very Japanese in their aesthetics and the way the story is told and shit. But the open world aspect of those games are very Western, very, very, very Western. Especially even going down to your map being crowded with shit.
Yeah.
But I think the lines are just starting to be blurred. I think it was probably good it was probably used in the 2000s and the 90s because back then the differences were more obvious, but the differences are starting to be blurred, and I can't really imagine a future where it continues to be relevant, because I have a feeling that just RPGs in general are just going to become more and more homogenized just due to how it would. everything's eating into each other and influences and shit.
Yeah.
Honestly, to go off of that, I'll give my point. I feel I pretty much 100% agree with that sentiment, Matt, because my feeling on this topic is basically, at the end of the day, we have a lot of different monikers for the different types of RPGs that exist. ARPGs, CRPGs, JRPGs. At the end of the day, they're all RPGs. And do we really need... I can see both sides. On one hand, these monikers are helpful just to tell people what kind of game it is, what they're getting into. At the same time, they're all RPGs, so do we need to categorize them in this way? And then you get into the whole discussion about subgenres in general. And it's like, well, do we even need these subgenres? Do we need these classifications? They're all like, character action adventure, fighting games, like they're all kind of action games at the end of the day, so do we need it?
I'd say we need some because it helps just give a general idea. Like, for example, Sonic Mania and Super Mario Galaxy are both platformers.
But they're very different games.
Exactly. One's a 2D platformer and one's a 3D platformer. So there are differences.
Yes, and I agree with you in that context. I 100% agree. But then I start to see the other side where it's like Matt said, everything's just sort of becoming homogenized and everything's becoming more and more similar, more and more the same kind of style. So like, at the end of the day, I'm mixed on this. Like, I can see the term staying around just for the sake of convenience. Hopefully without any negative stigma behind it. But if we somehow abolished it and just got rid of it completely, I don't think I would mind it. Just because I would not care at the end of the day, because RPGs are what they are, and they're all just under the same roof to begin with.
Yeah, to me, it's like the name itself, I can kind of see an issue, but I think the bigger issue that needs to be addressed is just how Western media in general will often treat a lot of Japanese games. Like, oh, these are the games made by the weird people. They're not normal like us.
Look at these fucking weirdos over in Japan making these silly little video games.
What was the X-Play one that got me was fucking... Because Mars Girl shared this one, and that's the one where I was like, "Oh Jesus Christ!" It was like the one where she's talking the one about like the fucking dance game or whatever. Like it was like a Dance Revolution thing, and it was just like the most racist shit you've ever heard in your life being spouted. It's like what like this is like, sir, this is a Wendy's. Like this is Dance Revolution.
Like it's gotten better, but I would still say outside of Nintendo, simply because they're so big mainstream in the West, they kind of get over that hump. There is still a lot of underlying connotations of maybe not as much outright racism as it used to be back in like the 2000s, but still not holding these games in as high regard simply because their themes, their style, they're different, they're more I'd argue more creative and interesting, but it's like, and you could get into that whole thing of how I think a part of it could be the Western world's hard lean towards wanting to be mature, so they see something like The Witcher as more worth their time than something like Persona and all that. So like,
right.
That's a whole other discussion, though.
I think the bigger question here is, was G4 ever good to begin with? And I think the answer is no.
The nostalgia goggles have blinded us.
They really have. They really have.
I never watched them in the past, so I could tell you right now, they're just terrible.
Damn. Well, congratulations to Ryan for being a pure individual.
It sucks. It sucks because I used to watch like G4 and all of them, and I'm just like hearing them now. I'm just like, eeh. Like,
actually, one last thing to say before we go into news. I actually think I remember back in the day, my mom banning me from watching X-Play because I was watching it on TV one day, and they were reviewing Saints Row 2, and there was a whole bunch of racist shit about gangs and stuff in that review. And looking back on it now, I think I should thank my mom.
Your mom did you a fucking favor.
I think I should thank my mom for that.
Your mom knows best. Your
mom is based.
That's just the whole thing of like how kind of leads into if you saw Adam Sessler's Twitter meltdown about the whole thing. Like it just
I did not see this.
Shane.
He's basically just defending his shitty takes from 20 years ago.
He honestly could have gotten away with saying, I'm sorry, it was a different time, because honestly, it was. Jokes like that were more prevalent in the 2000s, as much as we probably don't want to admit it, but he was just like, no, I stand by it. My racist comments. It's like, yeah.
No wonder the revival didn't work out.
I love how you can actually just say like, yo, like it was 20 years ago. Like, I'm sorry. Like it sucks. It sucks. I'm not like that. But no, but imagine being that dumb to go on like Twitter and be like, oh yeah, I'm still proud of these. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you on?
I don't know, man. I don't know. But with that said, I think we can go right into the news. 6 stories to cover today. Like I said, not as much as usual. Technically 7, but 2 of them are interconnected. We have a resigning from a big corporation. We have more news on the Activision Blizzard deal. We've got some delays. So let's get into it. Starting off, speaking of Square Enix. Square Enix's president, Yosuke Matsuda, stepped down this week. So let's read. Article from VGC. Square Enix is replacing President Yosuke Matsuda pending approval. Square Enix has announced that it plans to replace current president Yosuke Matsuda. In a notice to shareholders published today, Square Enix Holdings said it intended to replace Matsuda with relative Square Enix newcomer Takashi Kiryu, pending shareholder approval. I see you, Matt. Shut the fuck up.
I knew someone was going to say something.
Shut the fuck up,
What are you going
Matt.
to do? Tiger drop him out of existence to get
Jesus
the CEO?
Christ. He's gonna fucking drop kick him off the Millennium Tower. According to the notice, approval will be sought at the annual shareholders meeting scheduled for June 2023. Should the move be approved, a meeting of the board of directors will finalize the details. So, a good riddance, NFT bro. Farewell.
This is the NFT. Oh yeah, this is the NFT man.
This is the NFT guy who put out not 1 but 2 New Year's letters saying we are doubling down on NFTs. So good riddance.
Also, apparently, this Kiryu guy though is also like a blockchain dude, unfortunately, as well, from what I've seen on Twitter. So that's
I think Square Enix as a whole. I think that
just get rid of them.
I think that company as a whole is like NFT. Like they're just trying to doubling down on it.
Just abolish Square Enix.
And no wonder that's his replacement, because a lot of how these board works is that like the guy who's the prior CEO has some say in who becomes the next dude. Yeah. And if he's a blockchain guy, of course he's gonna be on first on the nut, because it's like, oh, he's got the same ideas as me. This guy can run.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask if we intend if we think that the company will change anything with this decision, but now that I know this info, hell no.
It is not changing. This is a case of billionaire CEO replaced by another billionaire CEO. That's what it is. I don't think anything's going to change. Square Enix has kind of been the same company for about 20 years, for better or for worse. Mostly for worse, because they're bad. And I can't foresee that changing. They're still going to put out games. Some of them will be bangers. Some of them will be bad. But
Square Enix is so weird because they make like absolutely incredible fucking video games. Like genuinely, oftentimes, at least one Square Enix game is one of the best games of the year. I would often say,
16,
but they make external decisions that are like they are like actually as bad as the decisions Nintendo makes that Twitter overhypes into thinking are actually as terrible. Like Square Enix's decisions are actually that bad. It's just like I don't get it. I do not get it with them because you've got people like Yoshi P. You've got Team Asano who have put out like 5 bangers back to back over the past 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, why you gotta waste time with like this blockchain NFT? It's like, just make good video games and like don't do shit like Forspoken, which is so obviously outside your comfort zone,
Yeah.
which apparently, which they just said today, it like bombed.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I didn't put it in the batch of news, but because it happened last week. But going off of that, yeah, they shut down Lumino Studio after Forspoken bombed. Thankfully, no one lost their jobs. They all got assimilated into Square Enix.
Oh, thank God for that. Because there's some good people working. There was a lot of good people working on Forspoken. I mean, you can clearly see the game looks visually fucking insane. So.
Well, I knew they weren't going to completely disband it because they were also the Final Fantasy 15 people. So
yeah, definitely. They're probably gonna like work on like Final Fantasy like 16,
17
like,
or something,
17, or the rumored Final Fantasy 10-3, which might be happening.
That's been floating around for a while.
So I would not be surprised if they're moving to that or Final Fantasy 7 Remake 2 5.5. Nomura goes ham.
Final remix.
Honestly, yeah, it's just like Square. Why can't you just be like Capcom? Capcom, who's out here like they don't bother anything. They don't bother anybody. They don't do anything stupid. They just make good games.
They just make good fucking video games.
They just release a game like every like couple of months, and it's just like, here's a fucking game.
Here's a fucking video game.
Meanwhile, Square Enix is in the news because they're like, NFTs are the future.
I'm gonna inject NFTs directly into my veins, and you can't fucking stop me.
Without realizing that NFTs like went out of fashion like a year ago, and like, no one likes them anymore. Not even the blockchain bros really care about NFTs anymore. If you've noticed.
Now the solution is AI. Can't wait for AI game developers.
Dude, okay. So like South Park just did an episode about AI, and they made this exact point. Like, fucking people are literally just going from like AI, like from blockchain to AI because it's convenient for them, and they'll like leave it in like a couple of months. Like that's all it is. Like it's so.
Just replace one thing with the next, and the cycle repeats itself.
And it's an Ouroboros. It's gonna eat its own tail and just continually honestly, I think we should put these people in a perpetual energy machine because
then we would have renewable energy.
Exactly.
But let's move on to our next story. Nintendo Switch, big hit. Next console, who knows? Might be a little scarier than you think because reports suggest the next console might have some backwards compatibility issues. Let's read the article from VGC. Switch's successor faces backwards compatibility challenges, developer suggests. Nintendo Switch's successor could face significant challenges implementing backwards compatibility, according to a new analysis by respected content creator and Night Dive Studios developer Modern Vintage Gamer. In a newly published video, MVG dives into the possible components for Nintendo Switch's next console and explains why incompatibility between new hardware and how current Nintendo Switch software is compiled means that support for legacy Switch games isn't necessarily a given. The Nintendo Switch currently uses the Tegra X1, a chip developed by NVIDIA that also powers NVIDIA Shield Android TVs from 2015 to 2018, highlighting the age of the hardware. If Nintendo is to move away from the Tegra X1, which we all feel strongly that they will probably do, current Switch games won't work on new hardware that is without recompiling the games to target that hardware. The developer then posits several solutions for how Nintendo could get around this issue, such as software emulation similar to that found within the Xbox Series consoles. While a Switch 2 could theoretically do this, it would require significant processing power. Even the Steam Deck, which is a significantly more powerful device than the Nintendo Switch, struggles to emulate some Switch titles. So yeah, basically TLDR, Nintendo's aging hardware might get the better of them, finally. Again, this is all speculation. None of this is actually confirmed.
Yeah.
But how do we feel about this? If the Switch successor comes out and lo and behold, it can't play Switch games. What then? I'm not buying my entire Switch library again for $80 a piece, let me tell you that.
I think I can just say my piece on it. I understand modern vintage gamers' concerns. I think he is underestimating how much Nintendo is going to try to make this work. Like, even with the problems he has noticed, I'm sure Nintendo absolutely knows that backwards compatibility is a big thing for the Switch 2, especially with how big the Switch's install base is. And Nintendo has pretty consistently for a long time at least had some backwards compatibility for all of their systems. Like, other than Wii U to Switch, which completely changed game formats,
Yes.
every one of their systems since like the Game Boy Advance has had some backwards compatibility. So they clearly know there is a point to it. And now with one of their with their most successful system ever outside the DS, there's no question they know that this has to be something they really need to figure out how to make work. So I do think Modern Vintage Gamer raises fair concerns, but I think to go far as to say this could outright put a stop to backwards compatibility, that Nintendo won't do it, I highly, highly doubt that. I think they will make it work in some way. You know, of course, I could be wrong. I would hate to be wrong, but I'm fairly confident in my stance that it may be difficult, but they will figure it out.
Yeah, what do you feel about this, Matt?
It honestly, I don't know what they're gonna do for the Switch successor because they haven't revealed it like at all. So the only like the only thing I can imagine that like if the Switch successor stays cartridges, they'll probably find a way to make it backwards compatible because that's what they did with the DS to the 3DS, and that had a fucking huge software upgrade.
Yeah.
That ran into similar problems, from what I understand.
Yeah. Which I
So
totally oh, sorry.
Yeah, so like they'll be able to do it. However, Nintendo is Nintendo and they're weird. And they could do something fucking bizarre by like going back to CDs for like the fucking Switch success. I don't think they're going to, but if they do, that immediately, okay, then no, it's not going to.
Immediately then, oh, this fucking shit's not gonna work anymore.
Yeah, well,
I don't think it's gonna happen. I think they're gonna stick to cartridges. It also depends on the type of cartridge, because like 3DS stopped being able to run Game Boy games because they just fucking didn't have the slots for them.
I think it's going to be a DS to 3DS situation of similar yet also different types of cartridges. Because, I mean, I would go get my Switch. It's upstairs right now. But unless they make the Switch 2 like substantially bigger, like the size of an iPad or something, you're not fitting a disc in there conveniently.
It would be very funny if they made it the size of an iPad, because that would be just like, it'd take up so much room for no reason.
Yep. But basically how I interpret this, I understand the concerns, and I feel like MVG knows what he's talking about, considering he's an actual software developer. I agree with both of you. I agree with Ryan in that Nintendo will probably find a way to make this work, because at least every iteration of Nintendo hardware has some form of backwards compatibility. As long as they use similar cartridges, I'm sure this could work fine. However, I agree with Matt. It's Nintendo. We really cannot predict what Nintendo will do. They are just that unpredictable. So it could really be here or there. I have no idea which way they could go.
All of this is also running under the assumption that the Switch successor, or Switch 2 or whatever, is even the Switch 2.
Yes.
I think
absolutely.
Don't know what it is.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it could be something else, but I don't think there's any question that it won't be, simply because the Switch as an idea, it's like people still love the idea. Like, this is like one of the only times ever I've ever seen people who love Nintendo like me, who love them for their creativity, who are like, yeah, really don't do anything big and new for your next system. Like, literally all people want is just a stronger Switch, because the Switch as an idea can still carry on for a whole nother generation with how much people love this thing.
I mean, 120 plus million units.
Yeah,
Like,
third
let's
selling
be
system
real.
Clearly it
ever.
works. Yeah, clearly it works. So
Yeah, clearly people like this thing, so hopefully it'll be
Mhm.
at least similar. Let's move
Yeah,
on.
sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to make one last little comment after Matt especially brought it up. I could honestly see this being very similar to DS to 3DS because, again, DS blew the fuck up, super huge. What was the 3DS? Essentially just a juiced up DS with some little knickknacks thrown onto
it
it.
was
Pretty much,
It
yeah.
was the DS post Avatar. Because
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
were like,
really was.
"Ooh, 3D. That made people
Ooh!
laugh."
Oh.
Honestly, the 3D on the 3DS was actually really good.
It was really
so
good.
It was really good, so I don't blame them.
But sticking to Nintendo for this next story, let's talk about, of course, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Just got an update.
No.
Guess what the update's doing? Deleting people's
Oh,
save
no.
files. Let's read the article. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet save files are reportedly being deleted due to a bug caused by the game's latest patch and its connectivity to Pokemon Go. We can always blame Pokemon Go for everything wrong in the world. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's latest update allowed players to send postcards between Pokemon Go and Scarlet and Violet. However, according to several users on Reddit, pairing the game with a Pokemon Go account, a functionality that was introduced in the latest patch, has caused massive issues with the game's save files. Nintendo has yet to acknowledge the issue, although some users on Reddit are claiming that when opening a ticket about the issues with Nintendo support, they're being told that the issues are being investigated. It appears... Get the hell off my screen, Ed. It appears that simply updating the game to the latest version doesn't cause the issues on its own. The issues reportedly only emerge when connecting the game to Pokemon Go. VGC has reached out to Nintendo for comments on the story and will update when we receive new info. The story has not been updated. So, it just keeps going for this game, huh? It really does.
Nintendo, don't you love it? Don't you love it when your patch makes more problems than it solves?
I think you tweeted, Ryan, that this is just like a Bethesda
meme.
Yep.
Spider-Man pointing at the Pokemon company. It's Bethesda pointing at. What's that? This update makes our dragons fly ass first.
You love to see it. A patch that makes things worse. I love this. This is amazing.
This game sold 25 million units.
Honest to God, my only fucking hope is that like this is such a shit show that they essentially like batten down the hatches and say, okay, we got to change something here because we can't do this again. Like
you underestimate the power of money. And
no. Well, because Pokemon randomly does things that are either great or terrible, a complete random. Like, oh, we went through this shit period after like post Black and White 2, all the way from like 2013 to like 2019 with Sword and Shield, and then here we're just gonna casually drop the best game in the franchise in Legends Arceus. It's like, okay, I don't even know anymore.
I didn't even put the Pokemon Presents in here because that is not worth discussing.
No, it's literally not. Pokemon Go Home and Sleep.
Yeah.
Pokemon Sleep. It watches you as you sleep and tracks your information.
I love massive corporations tracking my data.
Like even any jokes about it could even just be dissuaded by just you can simply say Pokemon Sleep was the second most notable thing from that presentation, and that alone speaks volume.
The only thing from that presentation that I was like, ooh, kind of, was the anime shit. That's all I gave a shit about. That actually
looked pretty cool.
Well, because because the Pokemon anime has been like weirdly enough been consistently good since like X and Y. So like I have literally a ton of faith that like this new basically hard reboot of the Pokemon anime is going to be anything less than a banger. It's probably going to be very good. And like, if you've seen like recent like the animation stills and the Sakuga shit from like the recent anime, like the anime, it looks like this incredible people working on the show.
Yeah.
So it's like, but like Pokemon is inside, but like they're getting complacent, and it's not going to change because it's not going to change because how many people are going to buy the DLC? A lot of people.
Everyone.
Mystery Dungeon fans, there's no reason for me to live.
There's no
I no longer want to live on this planet anymore.
I don't want to live on this planet.
It is very funny though to see Pokemon fans continually get like excited for like the Pokemon Presents and be like, they're gonna announce this and this and this, and it's never announced.
They
ever.
literally announce jack and shit.
I mean,
every time.
I knew there wasn't going to be much from this one because we just got Legends and Scarlet and Violet, so we weren't getting any big new games from this one. But holy shit, y'all needed a meaningful spin-off in that presentation because there was nothing else.
I mean, they spent a lot of time on. Well, at least they confirmed that Pokemon Sleep is not dead and creepy. So
it was very creepy. I'm just gonna say this before we move on. I 100% was in the camp that they were going to announce Red and Blue for Switch Online, because how do you start your presentation with saying this is the date that the original games launched in Japan, and then you don't re-release the original games? I'm just saying
there's gotta be some coding issues going on with it not being able to be on the Switch Online.
And it was the perfect time to. And the perfect time to do it because the hype was fresh, because GBA and Game Boy NSO came like just a couple weeks. Like they were both still like only a couple weeks old with that presentation. So the excitement for games coming to them, like even if they didn't shadow drop, like not even just saying they're here now, even if you just said they will be coming eventually, I think that would have been enough for people.
Literally,
just let us know that it's coming. Maybe like if it's coming, like, hey, it's coming in a certain date down the line, I would have been like, okay, there's clearly like some coding issues going on trying to fucking put this on the thing, because it's got to be the trading shit that's probably fucking them up.
But I don't even. Well, probably because they're trying to do digital.
Fucking them up.
They're trying to do digital link cable implication. But I think I tweeted about this. Literal monkeys could figure this shit out, guys. Like, you have no excuse.
like, and also like it's not like the original Red and Blue, and also likewise Gold, Silver, and Crystal with like big games. Like Red and Blue can fit on a floppy drive. Like that's like a small
8 megabytes.
It's a small game. Even for like Game Boy standards, that shit was tiny. Because it was made by like 12 people in a basement.
Yep.
A single picture in your phone nowadays is a larger file size than most Game Boy and NES games.
I can literally play it on my phone.
Yeah.
As the joke often says, a image of Super Mario Brothers title screen that you can get off of Google Images is a larger file size than the game itself.
Exactly.
Ridiculous. Anyway, let's move on. Some Bethesda news. Microsoft announced a while ago when they launched the Developer Direct that a separate showcase for Starfield was coming later down the line. We not only got news on when that presentation is coming, but we also got the release date for Starfield itself. Unfortunately, it has been delayed until later this year in September. So let's read article from VGC. Starfield's release date has been delayed into the second half of the year. In an announcement video published on Wednesday, Bethesda confirmed that the game, which was initially planned to release in the first half of this year, will now arrive on September 6th. The publisher also confirmed that a Starfield Direct livestream will take place on Sunday, June 11th. Bethesda owner Microsoft also confirmed that the Xbox Game Showcase will take place the same day, Sunday, June 11th, prior to the Starfield show. This would place it on the weekend between Summer Game Fest and E3 2023. So, Starfield has been slightly delayed, coming out in September now. The showcase that will obviously show much more detail on the game is coming immediately after Xbox's E3 show. How are y'all excited for Starfield? Just to start things off, like, what's your hype level for this game?
I mean,
first of all, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I can do it quickly. For me, it's just a flat nothing because I don't have an Xbox. So
fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. So one, I'm actually happy it's getting delayed. Let them cook.
Yes. Yeah. Let them cook.
Let them cook. Yeah. Let them cook. Because because the more time they have work on the game, that's great. I'm excited for it. It's mainline Bethesda doing a new IP for the first time in God knows how long. And it's my favorite genre. It's a sci-fi game. It's like a space exploration, sci-fi, going to other worlds, just like weird creatures and like other planets type thing. And I love those kinds. I love that genre of like I love the genre in general. So I'm really happy. So I'm really curious to see how this goes. You can and all the stuff I've seen from the game looks very good. Like I think that it looks like one of Bethesda's stronger games they've done in a while. So I will definitely be picking this up. I do find it the bigger news for me from coming from all of these announcements is not that it's been delayed. I actually predicted it was probably going to get delayed again because we had heard jack and shit about it was supposed to come out in like May. The other thing is that the E3 time has become like the time of E3 is pretty much dying, and that everything's just going to get announced around E3 now instead.
Yep.
With their own presentations, like that's just what it's going to be turned into.
100%.
So I suspect Sony and Nintendo will be doing something very similar. They'll probably hit like a State of Play and a Nintendo Direct are also going to be around the same time. So, which honestly, I'm for that. It's clear it worked. Look, it worked for Nintendo. They were the first ones doing it, for a while, and then Sony kind of dropped out, and now Microsoft has dropped out. And so clearly, all of them followed suit, and it worked for Nintendo. It's probably going to work for Sony and Microsoft.
Right.
And it worked for EA too, because EA dropped out of E3 before around the same time as Nintendo, and it worked for them. So,
they're doing their EA Play thing now, which I think they're doing this year around the same time.
Yeah. I remember the EA Play when like Battlefield 1 was about to drop, and like that was actually like they did a really good job with that. So I was
much like every other seminar from a big corporation, it could be either hit or miss.
Corporations be like.
Corporations be like hit or miss, but profit.
Profit? Yeah.
I think the addition of Game Pass has elevated the excitement level for me in regard to Starfield. If it wasn't coming to Game Pass, I don't think I would bat an eye at it. I definitely wouldn't be paying full price for it, that's for sure. But because it's Game Pass, because Bethesda is Microsoft now, I will 100% be downloading this on day one and checking it out because the barrier of entry is so low for me that there's literally no excuse. So I will try it out.
What will the size of the game be? Like what are we talking?
Oh, it's going to be massive.
200 gig. We're looking at COD file sizes here.
We're looking at COD file sizes are only big because it has the fucking
anything.
Well, it's got the fucking online shit that it needs to.
It's because COD games, each individual mode is a separate install, which is stupid, frankly. But it is what it is.
They want you to have only one game on the console, and that's
I do like that they did that actually, because you can pick and choose which part of the game you want installed, and if you want to switch it up at any time, you can. I think that's actually kind of cool. However, for optimization purpose, dog shit.
There were people wonder why the games run like piss.
Yeah. So I guess we will see what comes from both the Xbox Game Show in June and also what they'll show at the Starfield Direct. Literally, I just want to know what the fuck this game's about. That's it. Like, what is it?
Who cares? It's a Bethesda story. It's going to be like, go here and defeat this guy.
Fair enough. There will be some sort of faction.
All the cool shit is going to be the in-between stuff, like the fight, like the faction shit that you can join, which when you played Skyrim, that was the cool shit. Like when you joined the faction, that was dope. Like that was the dope shit.
Right.
That was great.
Yeah.
So or in Fallout as well. Like joining the factions and their storylines and seeing how it will change depending on which faction you join. Like that's always been the Bethesda's bread and butter, and it's absolutely going to be in Starfield, and it's going to be great. Like that stuff, I'm fine. That stuff is 100% going to be fine. Like
right. So anyway, let's move on. Speaking of Microsoft, of course, we've got new news on the Activision Blizzard acquisition. Sony being a bunch of babies. It's kind of funny how everyone else has come around on this except Sony. Sony is really the one big one left that's like, no, I do not want this. No. Apparently, in the last week, Sony have made claims that Microsoft will release buggy versions of COD for PlayStation if the deal goes through. Let's fucking read, because this is literally playground school kid drama at this point. Sony has suggested Microsoft could release degraded versions of Call of Duty games for PlayStation consoles should the Xbox maker acquire Activision Blizzard. Issuing its provisional findings on the proposed deal last month, UK regulator, the Competition and Markets Authority, CMA, raised concerns that Microsoft could choose to apply a range of tactics to stifle competition if the deal was approved. These included withholding games or content from Sony, allowing fewer features on rival consoles, and degrading the quality of Activision titles on PlayStation. It suggested the simplest way to ensure there isn't a significant lessening of competition would be to block the deal entirely or implement a partial divestiture of Activision Blizzard that would see parts of the business like Call of Duty sold off and removed from the equation. However, the CMA said they would also consider behavioral remedies, such as Microsoft's offer to make Call of Duty available on other platforms post-merger, although it views these as less favorable than structural ones, which rarely require monitoring and enforcement once implemented. So, this has been going on for what feels like years.
It's going to continue for like what feels like
we will
years.
Literally have a new story about this fucking thing every podcast until this deal closes. I guarantee you.
The deal is not going to close for any time soon. I can't see it.
We don't have to bring it up every time. We know it's stupid.
But listen, it's good content.
Do it for the gag.
It's good content. So, yeah. So yeah, I find it hilarious that Sony is essentially one of the last big people or groups actively opposing this deal. And this story is so funny to me because, like I said, at this point, this is like he said, she said bullshit. Like the two kids on the playground, Sony's like, Mom, Microsoft is going to release glitchy versions of COD on PlayStation. And then Microsoft's like, no, I'm not. It's like, shut the fuck up. You are adults.
Don't worry, Sony. COD is already glitchy, so it's fine.
I could not fucking believe that. It's like, how desperate are you to just say anything to try and get this to stop?
Literally, I was going to say, like, this is supposed to be a professional process, and Sony's out here pointing fingers and making claims that are just flat out incorrect, especially after Nintendo and Nvidia signed the fucking deals and they said, yo, we're going to put COD on literally anything we can possibly put it on. Why are you being so fucking stingy, Sony?
I've made like multiple memes about it, but I could do it again. Like the best way to sum up this whole situation is literally just with the three console makers. It's like that. I'll wait till he comes back. But okay, we can wait for you, Shane. But yeah, honestly, the whole thing, it's just utterly ridiculous how much this is going on. But just this back and forth, this incessant amount of excuses and remarks from either side that most of which don't even feel like they have much of a basis, like this last one. It really just comes across as Sony just desperately trying to put an end to this because they do know, like, in fairness, they know that if they don't get this, they're coming up with slight shorter end of the stick, that something like Call of Duty isn't on even third-party playing field. But I mean, Microsoft has said they'll put it on there because, that's the smart thing to do, because it's the same thing with Minecraft. Limiting Call of Duty would only limit how much of a reach it could have. But I was going to say, the best way to describe this is literally Microsoft and Sony are in that image of like these two people. It might have been two girls like fighting on like this dirt ground, and Nintendo was just a guy in the back smiling, watching it, smoking a bong or something.
Yep.
That's literally That's literally what's happening. Because like it's this entire thing it's going to keep going for months. I can't see this ending there's no ending in sight. So here's what I think is going to happen. Or at the very least, actually, here's what I want to happen. The head of Sony and the head of Microsoft, we put them into an arena and we have them duel to the death for the rights to have Call of Duty on their system, and whoever wins gets Call of Duty specifically. Only that, because that's what this is about. No, do you think Sony gives a shit about Crash Bandicoot? No, they don't. They want Call of Duty because that's the big money maker. So just
it's about
Call of Duty, and specifically the way they fight to the death. If we give them pointy sticks, like little sticks with little points, and they have to fight over a copy of the upcoming Call of Duty Black Ops 5. And it's right there. There's only one of them there, and it has one of them there, and they have to grab it, and whichever that's on the system now.
I think that would be hilarious. First off, but I would also be down for a situation where they dangle the copy over their heads like a carrot with a horse, and see who can get it first.
It's like a fucking race. They're just fucking like crawling on the ground, trying to like trip over each other, trying to fucking get it.
Nintendo's gonna be like, hold on, I got an idea. They go around and gather those like life-size, like actual to scale Gundams that Japan has been building, and they just give one of each to each company. Duke it out, boys!
That would be the coolest thing that Microsoft and Sony have ever done.
Literally.
Like, straight up. I would be like, hell yeah, that'd be dope. Or I just imagine what Sane's saying, because it reminds me, I'll be like, it's just me playing with my cat. It's like me with like the fucking like little thing. It's just me just like letting him jump up. That would be them.
It really would. It really would.
Duty. Just like that State Farm commercial. Like, I got you $1. You're gonna be quicker than that. $1 on the fishing pole.
Exactly.
I really hope this deal never closes, because we'll just keep clowning on it for the rest of time.
Oh gosh.
Moving on. Let's move on to E3, which we brought up earlier. So it's been rumored, slightly confirmed, that the big companies are not attending E3.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out E3 claims there are AAA companies that will appear on the show floor. Who? Fuck if I know,
Ubisoft.
but let's read.
Ubisoft from Canada, you don't know them.
Fair enough. Ubisoft's the only one, but let's read the article. E3 2023's organizers have provided an update on this year's revamped show and claimed that AAA companies have committed to exhibiting. E3 2023, the flagship industry event's first physical show in 4 years, will run from Tuesday, June 13th, and has been taken over from the Entertainment Software Association by ReedPop, the media and events company behind PAX, EGX, and Star Wars Celebration. So far, Ubisoft is the only major publisher to publicly commit to the physical E3 2023 show, while Nintendo has confirmed it will be skipping this year's event. However, in an update published on Thursday, ReedPop claimed that unnamed AAA companies, in addition to indie darlings and tech and hardware firms, have committed to making their return to the LA Convention Center. The full roster of exhibitors will be announced in the lead up to the expo, providing participating companies the opportunity to make their own individual announcements beforehand, it said in a statement. Registration for E3 2023 Industry Passes opens today at the time of the article posting, which I believe was Wednesday, following media applications, which began last month. Working members of the game industry can apply, and ReedPop claims that 1,350 members of the media and content creators have already applied to attend. So when they say AAA companies... What do you mean?
Are these AAA companies in the room with us right now?
I mean, it could be. I mean, Ubisoft. Ubisoft was the obvious one. I could see Square showing up. I could see maybe Capcom.
Capcom's
Um,
probably Capcom's
potential
usually there, honestly.
on and off. Capcom's kind of on and off, actually.
If they got something to
May-
show, they will be there.
Maybe Bandai
Maybe,
Namco.
No,
maybe
100%
Bandai.
Bandai is gonna
Yeah.
be there. Bandai's always there. They were there last year, even. They
If
were like one of the
if
few that
Take
were there last year. So they were
if
there.
if Take Two wants to show up again and say absolutely nothing about their actual game,
That would be
remember
funny.
that?
Please do that.
Yeah. The most
I
pointless
do
show in existence next to the Gearbox one.
Yeah, the
No.
the fucking remember the Gearbox one where they spent a lot of time talking about the Borderlands movie that still isn't out.
They just had
Yeah.
they had just had a bunch of footage of Randy Pitchford harassing cast members on set.
Yeah, yeah. Which, by the way, that Borderlands movie is apparently going through extensive reshoots because it turns
Course
out
it
putting
is.
Eli Roth as your director was a bad thing.
Who could have seen that coming? Anyway,
Me, who has seen all of Eli Roth's movies and they're all
just,
bad.
I don't know.
what? So like, what even is E3 anymore? Let's be real.
Ease.
I don't know.
3 E's. Yes, exactly.
Ease.
It's honestly it's just a dying prospect at this point because companies are realizing they can more and more do their own thing, basically, because they
Yep.
can do their own presentations. They don't got to worry about the whole E3 hassle. Like Nintendo hasn't cared for like a decade, so it's like
Mm-hmm. And why do your presentations in person when you can pre-record them live and stream them to millions
exactly.
of people around the world at once?
Yeah, that's what exactly like I said. Nintendo hasn't showed up in person to E3 for like at least a presentation for like a decade at this point.
Yeah.
Which as much as people like to give Nintendo shit for being behind the times, they were miles ahead of the curve on that one.
And now
They
everyone's
knew.
copied their format.
Yeah, and everyone's copying that State of Plays and Xbox Games. So those are just directs. They're structured like directs too.
Literally, the Xbox ones have direct in the name. They're not even trying to hide it.
There have been State of Plays where the visual format is just a direct copy of how Nintendo does like the visuals for a Nintendo Direct.
They know. They know. And what is Nintendo gonna do? Sue them?
Maybe.
No.
Who knows?
Well, Nintendo doesn't care. Nintendo doesn't. As long as Nintendo's like, as long as it's not hurting them, they're not gonna fucking give a shit.
But yeah, it's just like E3 is a shell of its former self at this point, and honestly, I will be interested to see if it's even going to survive past this year.
I'll also be curious to see how Summer Games Fest goes because I was kind of underwhelmed by last year's.
But also, this year's different because it's the first year they're in person. So,
I mean, they are in. I mean, they really want to give it in person. It's give it in person. Last year's I was a little underwhelmed by, although I don't know if that's just me or my growing distrust of Jeff Keighley.
Jeff Keighley. Put that man in a box. Anyway.
Jeff Keighley, this is the future of gaming, and it's the worst game you've ever seen.
Anyway, let's move on. We only got a couple more stories. Actually, technically, we're down to our last story, but it's split into two, and it involves everyone's favorite video game, Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League.
Yes.
Literally yesterday, it was reported that Rocksteady has indefinitely delayed Suicide Squad following the fan backlash. So let's read an article from VGC. Warner Brothers has reportedly delayed Rocksteady's Suicide Squad until the second half of 2023 following negative responses to a recent gameplay showcase. According to Bloomberg sources, shout out to Jason Schreier, the boy, Warner has decided to push the title from its previously announced May release date until later this year. Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League is the next game from the creators of the Batman Arkham series, billed as a genre-bending action-adventure shooter set in an open-world Metropolis. The game was originally billed for release last year, but was eventually delayed until May 2023. So that's a story in and of itself. However, we got new details either last night or this morning that it could potentially be delayed to even next year. So let's read.
My God.
Again, article from VGC. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League's anticipated delay could be bigger than previously claimed. On Thursday, a Bloomberg source claimed Warner has decided to push the title from its previously announced May release to the second half of 2023. Following the report, which Warner has yet to officially comment on, Giant Bomb reporter Jeff Grubb, said a reliable source told him that Rocksteady's game may not arrive until even next year. I don't want to cause panic or anything. Yes, you do, Jeff. But I've heard it's not even coming this year. I'm hearing 2024. Earlier this evening, I heard they're like, this is a delay-ass delay. This is a bigger delay than it's even being put out. We'll see, he added. That stuff is hard to nail down for sure. I'll say that the source has always been very good for me. So yeah, this game's kind of a fucking disaster right now.
Full rework incoming, and I'm not surprised. I saw the gameplay footage that they showed. I liked mostly what I saw of it. I thought it looked really fun. It was the whole battle pass shit and the live service stuff that I think was really the big sticking point to some people. And that's probably what they're trying to dump. It's gonna go bye-bye.
I don't know, because I think Jason Schreier did say that the delay is just for polish. It's still gonna be a live service game.
No. If it's a year fucking long delay, that's a massive amount of time. The game was about I watched that gameplay show. The game looked pretty polished to me. And the game was set to be ready. It was ready to fucking go, from what I understand. So this is massive. That's probably damage control. That they're probably trying to say, oh no, it's just for polish. Yeah,
no, I could 100% see this being damage control and this potentially being entire reworks of systems, because I agree with Matt. The gameplay I saw, it looked fun, and I think that's the most important thing. I just don't want to get into another live service that will eventually shut down in a year or two.
That's exactly, and it would, because fucking if Avengers, the biggest name on the fucking world can't make a profit, then I doubt the Suicide Squad can.
How long's Gotham Knight gonna last?
Not long.
It's already dead. Stop! It's already dead.
The Gotham Knights definitely did not. And also, I do think the financial underperformance of Gotham Knights is probably contributing to this.
Probably.
They probably saw the backlash that the backlash to the loot box system and the live service stuff in Justice League in Suicide Squad Guild of Justice League, and then they looked at the numbers for Gotham Knights and were like, "Oops."
F in chat, I guess.
Pretty much F in chat, and they decided to delay it. If it doesn't come out this year, congratulations! Spider-Man 2 is now the best superhero game of the year. It's now on a silver fucking platter.
I think that was a given to begin with. Regardless
it was
of
a given, but it's literally it's zero competition now. Like, it's not even like a debate. It's not even like a small debate anymore. It's like there's no debate. It's the only one.
Mm-hmm.
So congratulations to Insomniac. You win by default. My favorite way to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was no doubt to me that Spider-Man 2 was gonna blow out.
How much that gets delayed as well?
I don't
think it will, but also we haven't seen a lot of the game. So
fair. I don't think it will either, given the track record of Insomniac.
And Sony as well. They're good to stick in release. Yeah. Sony's pretty good at sticking to release dates.
However, literally anything can happen at this point. So I don't think we can really pin it down to like, oh, this will get delayed, this won't. Literally everything is up in the air until it's actually out on store shelves.
Sony wants to make sure they have a competitor against Tears of the Kingdom for the Game of the Year award.
And one that they will lose because
they will lose.
Tears of the
I don't know. Again, I could see Spider-Man 2 or Final Fantasy 16 taking it.
I still think
it's
going to be Tears of the Kingdom. I know how these things go.
It will be a front runner. Tears of the Kingdom will be a front runner, no question.
It's a Zelda game. Might as well give it on the silver platter. Like,
yo, is that a new Zelda game? Slaps a sticky note on it. Game of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, Tears of the Kingdom is going to be great though, so I don't.
Of course,
it's going to be fun. Great. So like I don't. It's like who like at that point like it doesn't matter. And if anything, this frees up May because now I can just like focus on Tears of the Kingdom, which is nice.
And also Redfall, which is also a co-op shooter coming out in that time frame.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. And also Redfall, which is on Game Pass, which is nice.
Isn't that also going through its own problems of like you always have to be online to play it?
It's fine, Ryan. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Do not concern yourself.
Okay, so Shane, is it possible that Redfall is being shaped up to be like one of the bigger disappointments of the year?
It could honestly go either way. It could be the biggest disappointment of the year, or it could be like the dark horse of the year, where everyone fucking loves it. It could go either way, honestly.
The back of my mind is telling me like this game. Back of my mind, I keep seeing the game. I'm like, this is really good, and the back of my mind is going, no, there's something. No, you've seen this happen before.
It's like, oh wow, Redfall looks really good. The physical copy doesn't have a disc in it. It's always online, regardless of single player.
Back for Blood vibes.
Yeah, Black for Blood wasn't great.
It's still good.
We're still good. We're still good. Who knows? Yeah, it could literally go either way. Just like with Suicide Squad, it could go either way too. If this delay is as consequential as we think, as it's being reported, and it does get delayed out of 2023, I legitimately feel like I think Matt's onto something. I think that's a huge overhaul of game systems in direct response to the backlash of the live service stuff.
I don't. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Matt.
I was just gonna say, like, I don't. I don't think the game. I don't think the gameplay itself is going to actually change. I think it's going to stay like the same gameplay. But I think they'll just dump. I think they'll just dump the live service stuff and be like, they're just going to turn into like a single player / co-op shooter.
Yeah, which granted, I am not against. If they do go through with that, like, and I'm a little doubtful of it, but if they do go through with it, hey, I will be totally happy if once this all is done, we can look back on 2023 as the year live services died, because that's what it's already kind of starting to be shaping up to be, which I'm all for because I hate live services.
Unfortunately, rip to all the good games caught in the crossfire. They will be missed.
Rumble.
Yeah. I also just realized the Suicide Squad's also online only.
Oh yeah, because it's a live service. It was a live service game. That's why.
Even though can be single player. Anyway, that wraps up this week's podcast, guys. Once again, excellent time chatting with you.
This is fun.
What did we learn today, boys?
Online bad. Stay online.
Online bad. A lot of companies really don't know what they're doing right now.
They really don't. They absolutely don't.
I think the moral of the story is that capitalism is bad. I think
guys, hold on. I think this guy might be onto something.
Sony's making up petty excuses. The Pokemon company is on fire. Xbox is just desperately trying to keep Redfall and Starfield together. Suicide Squad is in shambles.
So, I think the big moral of the story today is that video games should be canceled. Guys, it's going to wrap things up today. Thank you for watching another episode of Bearded Banter. As always, I am Shane the Beer One, your host. Thank you for watching. Make sure you follow and subscribe to us right here on YouTube, youtube.com/Bearded Gaming Network, or on YouTube at Bearded One BGM, where we post a whole plethora of great gaming content, including Let's Plays, unboxings, podcasts, previous streams, other funny, haha, goofy gamer stuff. And make sure, just like Suicide Squad, you punch the notification bell's large purple weak spot, and it will notify you of when we upload, so you're the first to see those new videos as they go live. Also follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/thebeardedgame network, where I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be back next week on Monday, continuing the year of Sonic. We are starting Knuckles Chaotix, which I have never played. So that will be interesting. So tune in for all of that. As well, follow me on Twitter at BeardedGamingN, where I post a whole bunch of stuff, including updates on BGN, my thoughts on video games, movies, anime, manga, comics, a whole bunch of stuff, and funny haha memes, because it's all Twitter is good for in the year of our Lord 2023. With me, as always, I am joined by my co-host Matt Legion Rex. You can subscribe to him on YouTube, youtube.com/Legion Rex. Also follow him on Twitter at Legion Rex, as well as on Twitch, twitch.tv/Legion Rex, where he streams once in a blue moon. You never really know with him. He could do it tomorrow. Who fucking knows? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
I'm very busy at the moment, so I doubt I'll be streaming anytime soon.
So expect to stream. Expect to stream sometime in the year 2026, but go follow him anyway. He needs it. He needs the support, guys. Also with me, I have my fellow co-host, Ryan, the NCS Master. You can subscribe to him on YouTube, youtube.com/the NCS Master, where he posts review podcasts, as well as reaction videos and other general gaming content. Also go follow him on Twitter at the NCS Master, where he has amassed quite a following for his stupid Nintendo memes. So if you like those, go follow him for that. Guys, thank you for joining me once again. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, man. It's always great to get the chance to do this.
It's very, very good.
Another successful episode of Banter, and we will see you back here once again in another 2 weeks for another installment. Keep on gaming, everyone. We'll see you then. Hold on. The recording isn't over. The recording isn't over. Mention it.
I was just gonna say, I'm surprised you didn't have it as a story. Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi new game coming.
I forgot about that.
I forgot about Tenkaichi.
Okay, the Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 4 was announced at the World Tournament. It's gonna be litty. It's gonna be fucking sick. Anyway. I don't. Okay, so the reason is because I get all my stories from VGC, and it's because it happened over the weekend. That's why. Because I take stories from the past week. So
yeah.
Okay.
So are we actually still recording right now, or no?
No, we're still recording.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Anyway, Budokai 4 is coming. Now we're leaving. Bye.
Bye.